guys, welcome to the line change. In this video, we're going to be asking the question, as this idea came to my mind, and I was like, oh, this is a topic that we can discuss, and is probably one that not a lot of podcasters have really been diving into or asking, as they've, everyone's been focused on, Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, the Canucks wanting a center, a second line center. So this topic hasn't really been brought up all that much or really looked into. So that's what we're going to do in this video. As you can see from the title of this video, begs the question, should the Canucks look at goaltending this offseason on top of looking for a center and whatnot? Is the goaltending situation for the Canucks in dire need of them looking at free agency at a potential backup goalie? Obviously, this all depends on what becomes of Thatcher Demko, whether or not they decide to trade him at the deadline or trade him during the offseason. It also depends on if Artur Silovs can, get some of that magic back that he had in last year's playoffs. So far this season, Silovs has not been able to replicate that. Speaking of Silovs, as of this season, he's won this season. So he's not had it played to the caliber that he needs this season. He's not been an NHL goalie this season. He's just not. Now, going back to the topic of this video, I have here a list of pending UFAs that are goalies. We're going to, go through the list. There's obviously a few names that jump out at me, but being realistic, there's no way the Canucks are going to probably even attempt or ask or go after these goalies. I don't think the Canucks are going to go after Adin Hill. Adin Hill is a bona fide starter, and the Canucks aren't really looking for a starting goaltender. They're hoping, barring what happens with Demko, that Kevin Lankinen is their guy. I mean, they extended him 5 years, and he could be their goalie of the future. Obviously, they really believe in Lankinen, but you also need to worry about your backup situation and whether or not you need to go out and get a backup to play with Lankinen. There seems like the Canucks right now are unsure about a Lankinen-Silovs duo or Lankinen-Demko duo. Obviously, all of that all comes back to what's going to happen with Thatcher Demko. Is he expendable now that they've re-signed Lankinen? Another name that the Canucks probably are not going to look at, Jake Ottinger. He's a RFA, so Dallas holds the cards there, and as much as I would love for the Canucks to acquire Jake Ottinger, it's just not going to happen. Going down the list, you got Jake Allen, although he's 34 years old, so you don't exactly, it's not a smart move to go after an aging goaltender, especially if they've shown that they're on the decline. So there's Freddie Anderson. He's 35. He's also a UFA, but again, that comes back to age. There's Georgiev, but as we saw this season, he took a massive decline in his play. Georgiev is only 29, but he was playing for Colorado the last few seasons. Up until this year, he was a relatively good goaltender, but he took a massive decline, and then he ended up being traded by Colorado to San Jose. And I would imagine San Jose would want to re-sign him, considering what they gave up to get him. They gave up Blackwood to get him, and then the Avalanche have already re-signed Blackwood. There's also both of their San Jose's goalies are pending UFAs. So Georgiev and Vanacek are both UFAs. They're roughly around the same age, and they both cap their previous AAV is identical. So it looks like the Sharks have a bit of a decision to make on who they want. as their premier goaltender. Moving down the list, you got Anton Forsberg of the Ottawa Senators. He's 32. Again, age. When you're looking at goaltenders, you're wanting probably someone who's just under 30. When you're looking at goalies, especially, multi-year, if you're looking at offering multi-year contracts, 2-3 year contracts, you're looking at someone who's just at 30 or just under 30 years old. For example, Karel Vejmelka of Utah, he's 28. He's someone that I think the Canucks could look at or just ask about. Maybe, see if he's interested. Obviously, Vejmelka is looking to be a starter, and he might be asking for quite a bit of money. Moving down, I have picked out a few that I think the Canucks could be potentials, of course, being realistic. So the first one is Dan Vladar of the Calgary Flames. Vladar is a 209-pound goaltender, 27 years old. He is 8-10-5 this season. Obviously, the Flames have Dustin Wolf, a young upcoming goaltender who has impressed this season. And it just seems like, much like Demko, Vladar has become expendable. So it looks like they're more interested in going forward with Wolf than they are Vladar. So he could be someone that the Canucks could maybe look at this offseason. Another one is Devin Levy of the Buffalo Sabres. Levy is 2-7 this season. However, he's not a UFA. He's actually an RFA. He's a restricted free agent. But what really stands out to me is he's 23 years old. So he's still got a long career ahead of him. Now, he's 23. He's very young. I don't think he's hit his prime yet. Let's actually look at his stats. So he's been in the NHL 3 seasons now. His first season, he played 7 games. He was 5-2. His sophomore season, he played 23 games and he was 10-8. And then this season, he's played 9 games and he's 2-7. So that's just his first 3 years. You don't expect a goalie to come hot out of the gate, especially at that position. I do think the Canucks should maybe look into this a little more. Devin Levy could be a viable backup option, especially if you don't have faith in Sealer and you end up moving off Demko. So there's that. Another name that popped out to me was Charlie Lindgren. He's 31 years old, 6'2", 179 pounds. He's 13-10 so far this season. He's playing for the Capitals right now. This one might be a little tricky if the Canucks were to go this route, as Lindgren is 31. He's had a decent season so far. He's been basically playing 50-50 split with Logan Thompson, who re-signed with the Capitals recently. Last season, Lindgren played 50 games and he was 25-16. So he had a great season last year for Washington. The season before that, he was 13-11 in 31 games played. He spent 1 season in St. Louis and played 5 games and he won all 5. That was in 21-22. Prior to that, he was with the Montreal Canadiens. Some of these numbers with the Canadiens were not all that great, but since moving on from the Canadiens and since playing with briefly in St. Louis, he's been a pretty decent goaltender. So far in his career, he's 66-49. So 66 wins, 49 losses. So, and he's used to right now being a 50-50 split. So it seems like he's fine with that. Could he be an option for the Canucks this offseason? My only thing with Lindgren, and as appealing as this is to me, based on, his play, he's probably going to be pricey. That's the only thing. When a goalie is playing this well and has shown that he can play well consistently, he's going to come with a price tag. And we don't know what that price tag is right now. We also don't know if the Capitals are looking to re-sign Lindgren. As I mentioned, they already re-signed Thompson. Maybe they want to keep both of them and keep going with this 50-50 split because it's working out for them this season. Washington is one of the best teams in the league this year. Now, obviously, a lot of attention when it comes to Washington is on Alex Ovechkin and him breaking the Gretzky record. But their goaltending has been phenomenal this season. And that's because of the duo of Lindgren and Thompson. So obviously, if I were the Capitals, I'd want to re-sign Lindgren. So I wouldn't want to lose him. Granted, they re-signed Thompson and have shown that they have faith in Thompson. But does that leave Lindgren, the odd man out? So I do think the Canucks could maybe, approach him, think about a potential signing of Lindgren, especially if they were to go down that road of looking at goaltenders this offseason. Another name that jumped out to me was Eric Comrie of the Winnipeg Jets. 29 years old, 6'1", 190 pounds. He is 6-8-1 this season. Obviously, he's been playing behind Connor Hellebuyck, who is one of the best goalies in the world. And he's played all right this season. He's 6-8-1. Obviously, Connor Hellebuyck has played the majority of the games for the Jets because he's a starting goaltender. That is Hellebuyck. He takes on a massive workload every season. And this is Comrie's second stint with the Jets. He was, originally started out with the Jets, played 3 seasons, played a season in Detroit, played a season in New Jersey, went back to the Jets, and then played 2 seasons in Buffalo before having a third stint with the Jets. And as I mentioned, he's 6-8 on the season in 15 games played. I think the Canucks could take a look at him. He could be a solid backup option, especially if you were to have Lankinen as your starter. I think he's certainly a bit of an upgrade on Seelovs, but only because Comrie's a little bit older and he's a bit more seasoned. Another name that I looked at was Zach Sawchenko, at 27 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds for the Blue Jackets. He's 1-2-1 so far this season. So he obviously hasn't played a whole lot for Columbus. Columbus has relied on Mers Leakins so far this season. And also, I believe Sawchenko is look here. Crap, I lost where he was. But looking at the fact that he only has 1 season under his belt, I think he might be an RFA. Correct me in the comment section down below if I'm wrong on that. Anyway, going back to Thatcher Demko. Well, this is going to be a bit of a longer video, so as we got a lot to cover over this. So Thatcher Demko, he's 6-6-3 so far this season. Obviously, he's been plagued with injuries this season. Him being out right now is his 3rd injury a year. And on that injury note, the last 3 seasons has had some sort of injury. So he's been injury prone the last 3 seasons. So it's been detrimental to the Canucks because of that. He hasn't really been relied on. Obviously, last season, he played 51 games and he was 35-14. He was a Vezina finalist last season. And then unfortunately, he got hurt towards the end of the season. And then he got hurt again in the first game of the playoffs. And then he was out 9 months, 10 months with that knee injury that I will once again not even try to pronounce. And then he had back spasms earlier this season. He ended up leaving the game against Seattle. And now he's got another injury. We don't know what it is, but what we do know is it's not his knee that he injured a year ago. It's not the knee. Well, then what is it? Is it his back? Is it something else? Is it another part of his body? Is it the groin that he injured last season, they haven't said what the injury is. A little update on Demko. I did hear that he's potentially due back next week. So around, I would say, shortly after the deadline. But that's Demko. Let's look at Artur Silovs and his stats for a little bit. Silovs is, as I mentioned already, 1-6-1 this season. So he has not been good this season, but this has also been his most workload that he's had in a season. His rookie season, he played 5 games and he was 3-2. The season after that, last season, he played 4 games. He went 3-0-1. And then this year, he's played at 9 and he's 1-6-1. So I would say, and he's, nothing against Silovs, but he's played very well in the AHL. Maybe he just needs to develop a little bit more. He's the same age as Devin Levy. He's 23. He's slightly taller. He's 6'4", 103 pounds from Latvia. I just think Silovs needs some more time. I think, last year's playoff run was a bit of an outlier. It was a once in a blue moon type of deal. It was basically a fairy tale run for Silovs, where the Canucks managed to make it to Game 7 of the second round with a backup goalie who had, prior to this season, no playoff experience. It was a potentially one and done. So there's that. Questions for you guys. Do you guys think the Canucks should look at goalies this offseason on top of what their other needs are? Another center? Should they go out and get a winger? But do you think they should at least take a look at the goalies that are pending UFAs this upcoming offseason? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, leave a like. If you like this video, leave a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel, smash that subscribe button. You really help out this channel. If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave a comment. I'm going to attach another poll to this video. Once again, asking the question, should the Canucks look at goalies this upcoming offseason? And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.